everybody, so welcome to round 2 recap in the Sligo Chess Tournament 2025 Masters section. So this is the round number 2 that I've played in February 1st. And well, I was playing white pieces. This was the morning after the loss I had in the round number 1. So I just prepared as I could the previous night and the morning, and I found out that my opponent was going to play the Pirc defense. So as I knew that I shouldn't maybe play what I've played in the past, because I saw that my database was full of my main opening, which was like d4 knight, and then after g6 f3 and bishop e3, trying to create kind of an attack on the king side with the bishop, the queen, and the pawns. So I was making some research the day before of the game, and I found a line that I really liked, which was bishop g5. And well, bishop g5 has many ideas behind that I'm not gonna explain that much in this video because then it's gonna be too long. But against what my opponent did, bishop g7, e5 is a move that is very tricky, because if black doesn't play correctly, actually gets up in a worse position. Plus, I was talking to a guy like at the very end of the tournament, and casually this guy was friend of my opponent for this round, and he told me like they were preparing against me, like my opponent and his friends, like a lot of time before the round, like the night before in the morning. And well, of course they 100% prepared against my other line, but when I played bishop g5, I think that my opponent must be literally very surprised, because he was expecting for something else, like very different. So anyways, after e5, he played knight d7, I took the pawn on d6, and then queen d2. So this is basically what I wanted to get in the game, like queen d2, long castle, and attack on the king side. He went with short castle, which is the first mistake that I knew he was going to do, because this was all prep for me. So after that, h4, attacking straight away on the king side, and he came with knight c6. So knight c6 is actually threatening the pawn on d4, but actually I defended and it wasn't the best. Chess.com says that it's a mistake because it's missing an opportunity of something way better that I shouldn't have missed. Continue with the h4 plan. So now if we go with h4, well, let's say that bishop takes. If bishop takes, we just retake the pawn, and then what can he do? Like maybe take with the h. So if he takes with the h pawn, then well, maybe knight f3 is simply enough to keep the advantage. And when the bishop goes back, then we have bishop h6, and we are coming in. So it's actually a very well compensated sacrifice. And well, it's just a pawn, isn't it? So it's too much, like too much pressure for what he have got in exchange, which is only a pawn. I didn't see it, like I didn't want to risk. Of course, I considered to sack the pawn, but I didn't want to risk that much in this game. So I just protected, and then he played queen a5. So after queen a5, I came with h4. Queen a5 has a very interesting idea, which is to put some pressure over my bishop on g5, which is only protected by my knight on f3, but my knight is also protecting my pawn, and two pieces are attacking my pawn. So here, it seems like he can actually get the pawn for free again. But after knight takes, bishop takes, and queen takes, which was the best move, queen takes g5 is very bad for him, because then when I take on g6, he can't actually do much. Like if he takes with the f pawn, then I'll do bishop c4, and he is actually getting checkmated, or he's losing a lot of material. If he takes with the h, I'll just go and checkmate, and if he takes with the queen, is amazing for me, because then I can just go with rook h3 and attack him, or otherwise bishop d3 to put some pressure over h7, and he can never block, because then bishop c4 comes straight away. That was like, now that I'm analyzing, and of course in the post-mortem analysis, I of course saw it and I said like, oh my god, this was extremely easy. But I think that in the game these things are way harder to see. Here I'm 100% guilty because when I was considering pawn takes pawn, I literally thought that he was extremely safe. So instead of taking the bishop back, I took the pawn first, which says it's an X because it misses the opportunity to do the other line, which is very similar. But then he comes with bishop c3. I take on h7 with an intermediate check, so he can't take my queen, and I got a pawn. I have a pawn on h7, which is very weird to be like in the very beginning of the game, and I already have a pawn on h7. And well, then we get into this position, which I really liked, and the position just developed normally, like bishop h6, kicking the rook out. He attacked my queen. I moved my queen here, and then when he moves the rook on d8, here I found a brilliant resource to protect my pawn. As you can see, he's threatening my pawn on c3 with the queen and the knight, and seems impossible to literally add some protection, like nobody can protect the pawn. But there is a tactical resource that of course I saw a moves ago, which is castle. Now he can't take it because if he takes the knight, I take the queen, and if he takes my queen, the rook was pinned, so I take the rook. If he takes with the queen, then he simply loses the knight. So my pawn is protected. After I did castle, he came with bishop e6, and now he has a problem about an overloaded piece, or not that, let's say, safe piece, like it's a piece that doesn't have a safe spot to be. We can introduce into a piece that is very easy to attack, and the piece that are the easiest to attack are the heavy pieces, queens and rooks. So his queen is protecting the knight, but the knight is also attacked by my queens. If I manage to kick his queen out, I'm gonna get the knight. So bishop f4. And now the queen doesn't have safe spot to go, because if the queen wants to maintain the knight's defense, queen f5 for example, g4, he still maintains the defense, but then rook h3 and the queen has to leave at the end of the line. He decided to not to even try to defend it, and he just took on c3, so at least he got a pawn in exchange. But now we got into this position that I have an extra piece, and it's actually very winning for me. Now I have two options. I have an intermediate check, and I can attack his queen first. So if I attack his queen first, he can still remain on the b file, and if I check first, I got rid of his access to the b file. So after he blocks, rook a1 is forcing my opponent to go for a trade, because he doesn't have any other spot for the queen, any other safe spot for the queen. So he went for the trade, and then we got into this endgame, which was clearly winning for me as white. So I just maneuver like through the files, through the diagonals, through all my resources. I got some pawns, I got this position, and then I got an extra rook apart from the bishop that I already had. So my bishop converted into a rook. We have almost equal pawns. He tried to fight for a bit, but of course it was useless. And then, well, he was like, I think, just distracted or just trying to fight, but he knew that it was already lost, and then he hanged the other rook. So he resigned in this moment. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like I could even have checked him instead of taking, just maybe expecting for some mistake at the end. But well, of course, taking the rook was the right move to do. And well, guys, he resigned. I'm very happy because my preparation went well, so I felt really comfortable in the opening. It was my first time, like the first time in my life that I was playing the bishop g5 line, and that makes me feel like really happy and really proud with my chess and my decisions making process. So guys, this is it for round number 2. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember that round 3 and round 1 are already uploaded in my channel. You are gonna have the links in the description down below, and round 4 and round 5 are coming very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.